Hey guys, Adam here with Indie Farm Life. Welcome back to the channel. Today I have a dock improvement for you guys. I'm gonna get rid of this green pop-up canopy we've been using on the dock, and while it works, it's just not the easiest to lug around and doesn't quite shade the whole dock like we want it to. So I'm going with something a little bit more user-friendly and a whole lot nicer. So I'm rigging up some makeshift flag poles on the four corners of the dock, and then gonna be raising and lowering a 14 by 14 shade that we bought off Amazon for like $45. But that should be a whole lot easier to raise and lower and make it just a much cleaner install and use of the space. I'll show you guys the components. So I said makeshift because I'm using 4 top rails from chain link fence. Should work about perfect. They're about 10 foot 6 each. And then on the 4 corners, I'm going to take these 2 other pieces of pipe, cut them in half, about 3 foot each, and that's going to be the sleeve that these top rails slide down into, and then I'll put a stop at the bottom so it doesn't fall down into the water. Got a couple clamps, find these in your conduit aisle, just to pin this back to the 4x4, some cleats for rope, some bolt snaps or quick clips for attaching the actual sail or shade to the rope. I went with eyelets up top instead of pulleys because, well, these are like 58 cents and pulleys were like $4 a pop. And some rings because I think that, I'm going to throw that one down there, I think that I'm going to need to extend the rope on the sail itself to reach out to each of the 4 corners. So those are the components. I think I spent like 150 bucks maybe, not counting the sail itself, so call it 200 all in. Should be a nice improvement to the dock when it's all said and done, but I'm going to build it off camera and then I'll circle back and show you guys the details of how I did so. All right, so I got my 4 makeshift flag poles up. I'll show you guys how I did that. By the way, doesn't the pond look great after that dye and copper sulfate? And I'll link to that video above if you didn't see it. It really turned things around. But anyway, this wasn't too difficult. A second set of hands was very helpful. Nick helped me out. So as I alluded to earlier, the first thing I did was take those 6 foot pieces of pipe. I had 2 of them and cut them in half. And those were my sleeves. So I got 2 3 foot sections. And then down there at the bottom, I drilled a hole to stop this pole from falling down into the water. And, well, here comes a raft. I'll get that out of there. I don't know if you can see, to keep it from falling through, I just took a 16 penny nail and nailed that through the bottom. So I did that, and then I put 2 of these conduit clamps on there, and that was the holster. And then the pole at the top I drilled out and put one of those eyelets in there. I'll pull it down and show you. And then I just put the cleat right here. I just screwed it into the 4x4. Thought that was easier than trying to drill a hole and bolt it in the middle of the pipe there or have threaded screws. But let me pull one of these down and show you guys. Not a very difficult project at all, but the improvement out here is drastic. I'm gonna put the sail up for you here in a minute and I'll show you guys just how much more coverage we can get and how we can kind of angle it. There's nothing holding this in here other than gravity. That way in the wintertime I can pop this out if I want to take these up to the house, the barn. If we can focus there, but yeah, just simply drilled it out and put that eyelet through there. Way easier than, well, I guess not easier, but cheaper than dealing with those pulleys. That's the only modification to this piece of pipe, is drilling that hole. And then I had to tie a loop in my rope and tie the snap on. So there you have it. I didn't fine tune the position of it yet. Let's see if I can do that and show you guys how we can kind of walk this shade back this way. Now I didn't end up using those rings to tighten up the gap here. I still could, and that might help my angling. The angling isn't great right now because of that distance, but I'll show you guys what we can at least accomplish. For reference, the sun is almost right above us, starting to creep behind us just a bit. So you had to sacrifice a little height there, but I'm just at 6 foot. I can walk under this thing easily, so we're probably at 6.5 to 7 foot. But if you look at the shadow now, I brought it back, I don't know, a few feet anyway. Doesn't cover everything, but you can still make some small adjustments there. I would consider doing a full 16 by 16, but I'm afraid I wouldn't have enough slack in the corners to draw it tight. So I didn't see a 15 by 15 version, but like I said, I'll put the link to this one on my storefront if you're in the market for such a canopy. But this is a nice addition for sure, especially when you're the one setting up the canopy every time. Never mind that floating cooler over there. But yeah, all in, I'm probably in it for under 200 bucks. I'd say 175-ish. Maybe I'll find the actual number and put it in the comments. So obviously this works for a floating dock, but you're not limited to just that. You could use this in a backyard, say a corner of a yard if you have a fence, and do a triangle shade, because they do make those, or you could always set posts. And although Lowe's doesn't carry poles longer than 10'6", I know Menards has some of these top rails that are, I think, 21 foot long, so you could really take this skyward if you wanted to. If you guys like this video, please hit that like button and consider subscribing. Would love to have you along for the ride. And if any of you out there have a pond, drop a comment below. I love hearing from other pond owners as to what I could incorporate into mine. And I've even had some of you guys take ideas that I came up with and use them yourself, so that's always pretty cool. For now, I'm gonna grab some of this pasta salad right here and jump in that there pond. I'm gonna take this dang curse, toss it into that dang pond. Anyone? See you guys next time. Cannonball! That feels good.